Okay, this is the start of the Acquisitions and Dispositions Committee meeting of April 12th, 2022 at 3:30 p.m. I'm very aware of that. So I just started
Sure you are.
meeting. Yeah, no, believe me, I think about it several times a day. It's got to get dealt with along with everything else. But
Yeah.
today something big got dealt with, so that was good. Okay. Hey, Ryan. Brian, you're on mute. There you go.
Good afternoon.
Hi,
How you
Brian.
doing?
Hey, Brian.
Hi, Brian.
I tried to unmute, but it said the host was not letting people unmute themselves.
Would I do that?
All right. So are we ready to call the meeting to order at 3:31?
Sure.
Okay.
I think there's a quorum, right? Yes, everybody's here.
I have to leave at 4 o'clock.
Do a roll call. Heather King,
Here.
Janet Nicholson,
Here.
Elbert Watson,
Here.
and who else do we have joining us?
Shay Cavallero.
Shay. And it looks like Richard's with us and Kate Edgman. All right, so first order of business is purchase application review of the River Street properties, 806, 808, 812, 814. Has anyone,
Yeah.
everyone had a chance to kind of take a look at the package that Tony sent us?
I did.
I took a quick look at it.
Is the purchase price 38,000, Tony, for everything?
Yes.
I'm gonna go.
Yeah, let's see, 814 River Street was appraised by Beacon's appraiser at $10,000. And I don't recall exactly how I did this. It was either using assessments or using that appraised figure as a square foot multiplier. And essentially what Habitat is offering is what I had down as the value of the properties. And that's largely based on that appraised value.
Tony, I was noting just a few housekeeping things. It looks like the spreadsheet says 54 Fifth Ave at the top rather than the River Street.
Oh, okay. That's because I threw it
Yep.
together, and thank you
And then
though for catching that.
And then the redevelopment plan says construct 2 duplex buildings, 6 dwellings. I think it's really 6 duplex buildings, 12 dwellings, right?
I think it's 4. I was just looking for the application. My Outlook just crashed on me, so all the files I have on the calendar, I don't have access to right now. So I have to go digging for it. Let's see where the heck is it.
I just had the same thing. That's why I just went tumbling. I was like, ah.
Yours did?
It's been a nightmare today. Computer.
Okay.
I guess it's 3 duplex buildings. 6 dwellings.
Yes.
So these are all single family, 3-story,
buildings.
3-story single family dwellings, or is there a
They don't show an elevation.
income unit included in each of these?
The application says that there will be six properties sold. Number of units, 6. New construction,
there-
home ownership, 6.
And there are 3 stories?
I'm
Doesn't
not
sound
sure
right.
about. No,
Yeah,
that
the
doesn't.
site plan says 3 stories.
Is that
often-
including the basement?
Well, I imagine they do
But-
have a basement, but usually
Sometimes
it's-
they still, yeah, I mean, I'm wondering if that's what it is. Let's see.
So,
so these are all single families.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
is this to Habitat?
Yeah,
So they normally don't sell to investors. It has to be a family moving in there, right?
yeah, that's
Yes.
their,
Well, they could, yeah, but they could sell, they could make a 2-family dwelling with an owner's unit and a rental unit.
Oh, okay. Have you had any dealings with them before? Is this new
Yep.
or? Oh, you
We
have? Oh,
have-
okay.
we've done 4 co-development projects with them. It's been several years, but 67 Fifth Avenue, 71 Fifth Avenue, and I forget the other 2. Fifth Avenue. There are a couple others on 6th Avenue, just the opposite side of the street, just below where 6th and 5th.
Yeah,
Change names.
my only comment is, unfortunately, we can't really make sure that a Troy resident winds up in those buildings, should this go through with Habitat.
What do
Unfortunately,
you mean, Jeanette? Because
They'll
they'll
become a Troy resident.
resident when they move in.
okay, that's true, but that's not a Troy resident who's currently purchasing it necessarily. But I get it, it's just a little sniggly detail, I guess, that I'm willing to overlook, but
Well,
my preference obviously would be somebody from North Central gets
Yeah.
to live in one of those rehab or new constructions or whatever it turns out to be, but
Yeah.
there's no way for that to happen.
Well, the upside of having, if a non-Troy resident buys the building, it makes the population of Troy go up, which is a good thing.
Yes, it's true. The other thing about the Habitat properties that we've done in the past, they really don't seem to have much use for on-site parking spaces. I know the one that they did over on 67 is still a bit of a concern, because there was space for a driveway, off-street parking, and they didn't include it. Anyway.
Well, what's their plan for in that vein, Jeanette? The 816 River Street, that's the one that cuts through all the way to the back, the other side.
I don't
Yeah.
know what the plan is.
No, I mean, but I'm wondering if that could allow for parking.
Well,
If it's
their
well,
site plan says they're gonna provide. Let me go to the plan.
Yeah, I'm looking at the site plan, but it's,
It says parking spaces 2 per unit. I don't know if that means on street or.
yeah, see, that's the problem.
Well, they
If
actually
it's on
don't
the
show,
street, it's not gonna help much.
the site plan doesn't show the full extent of 814.
or you mean 816? Or is that
No.
they have that
No,
backwards?
814 is the lot. Well, they're calling it 816.
Yeah, they are.
They're doing a lot line adjustment here, looks like.
Okay,
So yeah, I don't know. It just doesn't show what's happening at the other end of that portion of that lot that goes from River Street to 6th Avenue.
Well, there is
Hmm.
this effort to de-densify North Central with a new zoning, so it's just one of those things that if we can somehow include off-street parking, that would be great. Anyway,
I mean, can you require that in a sales contract?
I don't know how it works really.
I mean,
It's
because once they
just-
buy it, they can do whatever they want, I mean, you know?
Well, they're not proposing any off-street parking based on the site plan stats, which the site plan looks like it was drafted for zoning review. Because it shows the zoning requirements as 12 spaces required, 0 proposed, and does it need a variance? Yes.
Oh, 0 proposed. Yeah, I didn't miss that. Because I'm looking at it
Yeah,
vertically
Yeah.
here.
it's sideways. So for their financing, I did get in some last minute information because of the numbers weren't coming completely together. So I circulated that around, and again, I can't access my calendar, so I don't have the information that I got to you guys. But Christine Schutte tells me, let's see, I still can't access it. Can't tell you what she said because I can't get my calendar to open or my Outlook to open. They're using Chodo funds. They have a revolving loan line of credit from M&T Bank for $750,000. They have a loan from Key Bank, and they have funds from Key Bank. And she, oh, and they are expecting to have ARPA funds. Actually, out of the same budget line, our ARPA funds come from. So, and the ARPA funds was like 300, I want to say $380,000, somewhere around there.
Did they have a timeline for completion of the project? Did they mention that?
They said that
Yeah,
it
it
would
says
be,
at the end of the 2023.
When in
Okay.
2023?
the end of.
Yeah, let me see.
Yeah. Well, as far as like our role in the co-development as a co-developer, I mean, do we have any say if we wanted some off-street parking?
Well,
Are we just selling them to them and then we're out?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
this
not a
is-
co-developer,
Yeah, that's what.
and that's a planning board. That's a little bit beyond what.
Yeah.
So can we put a contingency if they don't get the approvals, we have the opportunity to buy it back?
Well,
Because,
yeah,
you know, that,
yep. You know, it's whether they'll agree to that, but yes, we can put that in the contract and put a restriction on it if you'd like.
because I'm a
I
little.
hear you. Yep.
Yeah, okay. I would like to make that provision if possible. I don't know, how does everybody else feel about that?
I'm okay with that. It's almost like a reverter.
Yep,
I have a feeling
that if
that
they'd,
I suspect what they're going to do is go to the zoning board before they actually own it, ask us to basically endorse their application to go for the zoning variances they need, and wait to see how that shakes out before moving forward on the purchase.
huh,
yeah.
So they want
how
to
do you
make,
feel about that? Yeah,
they want to make the sale contingent upon their own approval.
Well, I say that because they tried to get to the zoning board a couple of months ago. They asked us to sign the the endorsement form as the property owner that acknowledges that they're submitting an application. And we said, we're not ready for that. We haven't seen an application.
We also had to market it for sale.
Yes. So that's why I say, I suspect they're going to wait to see how zoning and planning settle out before they move forward with an actual purchase.
Well, that's okay to do now because you're recommending the sale to them. You know what I mean? So if you recommend the sale at the next board meeting, you could sign the endorsement at this point. We just couldn't circumvent our process. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
that's why.
That's why we held off.
I
Yeah.
understand why.
So I would support it as long as we have that provision. If they don't get the approval, then we get the properties back.
Yeah, I'm good with that as well.
Yep, not a problem.
So we need to,
Albert,
I'm good with that. I was just reading through the security agreement, and it does look like
Oh.
it does look like they're 3-story properties. Are they just trying to keep it in
I
line
didn't
with
see
what's?
it. I didn't see any front elevations.
well, there's little stoop, so they may be including the basement because it's not fully
Below grade.
below grade.
Are they just trying to keep it in line with other buildings that are in the area? I don't know.
There's a lot of 2 and 3.
Yes,
that-
yeah, it looks a mixed, yeah. 3.5, let's see. Whatever that is.
Yeah. Um, do we need to act on this and recommend this sale or?
Yeah, for it to go
Oh.
forward to the board.
I will make a motion to approve as we amended as we discussed.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
I think we
Uh,
have to approve some minutes too, don't we, Brian?
We do. We
Yeah,
have
sorry about that last minute addition.
draft minutes from December 21st, 2021. You'll have them. I'd make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anything else we can do, Tony, while we're here?
Yeah, Tony?
I mean, if there's anything else you want to talk about, I pulled off all the normal stuff that's on the agenda, but
How's 54 coming along?
well,
11
I was really hoping to have more applications here, and the problem I'm running into is I've got applications that are, fairly complete, but they're not totally complete. And the stuff they're missing is, I think, information that you guys are probably not going to be comfortable with them going forward on. So, for instance, I have one applicant, and I forget if he's submitted a proposal for 11 Winnie or 54, but on his project budget form, even though we've gone through this like several times, he hasn't been able to show me the money he needs to purchase the property is there. I believe it is, but I just can't seem to get the supporting documentation from him to back it up. So, and here, one example is he's got a pre-approval letter, forget what financial institution, and it doesn't give a loan amount. What it says is it recognizes that the cost of the property is $175,000, so it's probably 54. But that doesn't tell me what the loan amount is, so I can't tell the committee, these numbers add up.
Oh, that he's gonna be putting the required amount down.
Yeah, I don't know what other terms are connected to the loan. Does he have to put 20% down?
How can we move that forward? I know we
That's a
can't.
pretty easy request to,
I know. Believe me, I know.
well, and the purchase, because in a normal purchase contract, it tells you what their mortgage amount will be and then what they're usually in that purchase contract. Is Sherry on the phone with us?
No.
Or Shay?
is.
Shay is, yeah.
Jay is,
Yeah,
yeah,
Sherry-
because usually on, yeah.
Sorry, what was the question? I'm also at my full-time job, so I was just responding to
The
an email
nerve,
from that.
the nerve of you, me too, the nerve. No, like these, usually on the standard purchase contract, on the first page, they'll tell you typically what the loan amount is. They do what the offer, your purchase price is, and then what the loan amount is. Is it on, have they been filling that out in addition to the,
No, we have not been having
Okay.
them fill out the standard purchase contract from the MLS, just because
Okay.
it tends to lead to some confusion.
okay,
Well, here's a question I have. Unless, and this goes back to, I feel like a broken record, but
you're not,
the application is just one thing. And to my point of getting a down payment, if someone were to take a risk and hope they would have the money to close and ultimately would not, we should have a sizable down payment that would deter that person from backing out. And if they did, we would keep it because that's the price of keeping the property off the market while you said you were going to follow through, but you did. So, any application we take also needs the down payment. Like Tony shouldn't even be looking at it unless they put the down payment down. I just, anyway.
well, I think that's why Tony said he's not giving it to us.
That's not actually the reason. The reason is because
Aha,
I can't do the math because I don't have enough information.
okay,
I can't show that money needed.
Yeah, a
is there.
pre-approval should say you're pre-approved for the loan amount of X. And if it doesn't say that, that is really suspect. So I would just reject it, and that is what it is.
Is this something you can help us with, Shay, or?
Quite possibly, I'd be happy to. I just don't want to step on toes and start taking over things.
step on toes, Shay.
All right.
Feel free.
Yeah, because it's not gonna happen unless that gets done, and the longer it goes, the less happy we are. And probably you too.
Yeah, I mean, Tony knows I've gone through and I've created an investor sample for these two properties, which even mine isn't 100%, but I've got a better understanding than your average Joe coming in off the street working with John Smith, So I've created that, and I've also attached to both of the listings that the blank application and a blank contract of Kate's. So
Okay.
technically we've got, and it says clearly in the listings that everything needs to be filled out. Please see the example if you need any assistance or reach out. But even so, even with that, we've still run into issues. But yeah, we can definitely, and usually we at least require when they submit the application to send at least a copy of the background fee and application fee. I can also note that we want a copy, of the EMD check as well.
That'd be great.
Absolutely. I'll get that revised after we get off here.
Thanks, Shay.
Thank you, Shay.
The other
pleasure.
thing I just wanted to bring up is with regard to ARPA and legacy cities. I think especially with the ARPA funds, we need to have the A&D committee sort of also sit as a project review committee for LCAP. And just sort of, oversee the work that we're gonna, the architectural contracts and some of the other soft costs, and, sort of oversee the progress of that grant application, and then, have this committee review that and approve it for submittal. And it's great that both Heather and Albert are also on this committee, because you have the finance piece where we want to make sure that we're staying on budget, because there's only very specific funds and line items that we submitted to the city to be used on LCAP. And we have to monitor that carefully, because like I said to Tony the other day, we got a bid from ME Studios, but and I don't know, because I don't have it in front of me, but the example would be, okay, the bid is $50,000, but we only have 70 for architectural services. So, you know, somebody needs to review all that in addition to Tony. You know, this committee really should be looking at all that to make sure we don't approve contracts and work and then not have the money to pay for it. So I think we need to pull out the LCAP budget and also, you know, very specifically what the money is going to be spent on, and, you know, review that every month and make sure that we're on track.
Would it be possible, excuse me, be possible to, is Teresa Newton going to stay involved with that, with the legacy application? Does anybody know?
I expect her to.
Yes.
Um,
And then, oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, maybe, maybe we could ask Teresa to join our a portion of the meeting that deals with the legacy projects, since she should probably be pretty much on top of it all, I would guess.
Yes, and Tony and I discussed that you might want to increase or extend her current contract to include partial project management.
Oh, that'd be great.
Because there's, you know, going to be that gap between, you know, we
Sure.
did all the work to, you know, put in the application, but then there's sort of that handoff to the buyer. You know, there's that gap period as well, like what needs to be done there. You know, because what should happen between the CFO and Tony getting a little help here on LCAP is that he can focus on, you know, 791, the sales, and whatever else we need to do. And if you think about it, Tony's been doing all of that, and it's awfully hard to keep up with that. That's why I think, you know, the input from this committee, and then also from Teresa, and we really have to monitor that because we have to account for every penny we spend, you know, is the way to go. But it's just a suggestion, but you know, I don't know how else you guys would want to do it.
No, I think it's a
I think that's a good idea.
suggestion.
Yeah.
I mean, it sort of doesn't need to go hand in hand with the finance committee in terms of, you know, approving contracts and things of that nature. No.
Yeah, absolutely. And,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, there's going to be a lot of architectural plans too that go into the submission of the grant. So, you know, we have you, Brian, and, you know, I just think we really got to stay on top of this, and that we got to make sure that we finish, you know, get this project done, and that we can account for those ARPA funds. So,
Yep.
you know, my thought would be, Tony, to have maybe even starting next month, if Teresa can come, you know, to the meetings, and then we kind of monitor, well, where are we at with, you know, we still have to go back to TAP because they put in a bid, and it was just sort of a fee schedule and not to exceed 5% of the project cost, which I thought was outrageous. And we couldn't afford that anyway. But I think if we can narrow down the scope of work and ask them to, you know, do specific things, they could give us a more specific price. Because that's my point. If the line item for architectural services is 70 grand and ME Studios is already at 50, you know what I mean? Like, we got to make sure we would even have money to do what we need to do. So.
With your budget, did you account for all the money? Like every bit of it, you have is itemized
Yeah.
okay, for an expense.
Yeah.
There's a report that, when's the CFO supposed to start? Like, when's he gonna start? And how long do you think it'll take him to set up what he needs to,
Well,
in order to start spitting out reports?
that's what we were meeting when I get back on, is to really onboard him and figure out how you want to handle it. Like, you're going to have to, you know, Tony, Heather, you, and possibly me are going to have to sit with him and kind of onboard him and his firm and kind of see where we go from there.
Okay, because there's a report that he can generate that's actual expenses versus budget. So.
Yeah,
I love,
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. I love that report.
Yeah, yeah. So,
because we'll want to give him the LCAP budget and he'll program that in. And then, we just really need to track all of that as well. So it's going to be a little bit more work than we're accustomed to, but we have to do it. So,
yeah, you're gonna start generating a lot of
It's not bad to
reports.
do.
Yeah.
Oh, the sooner the better.
I need,
I am,
I need some guidance on 791 River Street if you guys have time.
I have time.
what's going on? What's going on?
Wow. So you guys know the story, the latest story of the masonry problem. There's not enough,
Material.
yeah, well, there's enough material. It's just not the right material. So the facts on the ground are that the supplier has a shipping order that he can produce that shows that what we ordered is what got shipped. And the supplier suggested that some of the units that should be going around windows and doors may have gone into other areas that only needed one side to be polished rather than more than one. There's no way that I know to verify that. I talked to the contractor and asked him if he had any photos, any interim photos, any photos of what was stored inside when, they moved everything from outside to inside. And he said he does have some photos. He didn't take it for that purpose, but that they may show, something. So I've asked him to get that to me. He hasn't yet. I asked him about 2 weeks ago, so I can ask again. But with the facts on the ground as they are right now, it's either the suppliers are wrong or the contractor's wrong. And based on the facts in black and white, it would appear right now that the contractor's in the wrong because we have a shipping order that shows we got what we ordered. And the units aren't there to finish the job. So I need to go, be a bad guy to one side or the other. And that's what I'm looking at now. And I just want to get some guidance from A&D as to if you guys are comfortable with me going down that path, or you want to take some other.
I think you need to get the photos first to see what's really going on. So they're saying that so the shipper is saying that they sent everything that we ordered. We got all the material. And he's saying that maybe that they over installed I don't mean to simplify it.
Well, that they
Install.
use the wrong units in the wrong places. So, a full-size unit that may have been polished on two sides or maybe on three
Yeah.
sides. Instead
Okay.
of putting it there, it got put into just the main field where only one side needed to be polished.
Oh.
I mean, anyway,
I
you
hear
cut it.
that groan, Heather.
Oh, Tony, are there any special shapes involved in that 45-degree corner?
No, actually, in the field, what we decided to do. So Beth Steckley from TAP, George Brower from SEAT, Bolton Contracting, and myself were there to talk about that. And the contractor pointed out, this is not going to be a very stable position for these blocks if they're cut there right at that place, right at that location. So he suggested just taking some wood and framing that area instead. And everyone agreed that was probably a safer solution because, if somebody rams into a column of block, that's really just one skinny column, then you've got a problem. So.
And what are they going to clad the wood framing with?
I think they were going to clad it with metal to match, the metal frame of the storefronts.
Yeah. And so the end pieces that they don't have are for basically that entrance along the jambs.
Yeah, around the windows and the doors, and the ends of some of the ends of some areas.
Yeah. Because one thought I had about the the masonry coursing alignment with the heads of the windows is just don't put a masonry head, just run the block straight up and then treat the head similar to the way you're treating the entrance, where you frame it with wood and then clad it, you know, you sheathe it and you clad it with metal. That may or may not, you know, it'll look slightly different. I'd have to look at the drawings to see if it really proportionally works, but that would be a way around not having to move all the windows. But-
So you're basically saying install
There's
wood framing that will be clad to fill in the space that the filler block would otherwise be taking up.
On every window, so that
Yeah.
they're all the same. They're all treated the same way, you know, and it might look okay. I don't think the polished jam, you're talking about a return of maybe 3 inches.
Yeah.
Not sure that's the end of the world.
No, but it's, you know, it's not what we ordered. But
Yeah.
you're right, it's not the end of the world. In some
Yeah.
places, I think it would.
I mean, moving forward, hopefully we'll never be in the position of being a GC ever again in the history of the land bank. But going forward, that's why like the GC should be ordering these things, because then they're on the hook for the order. And then the argument is just between them and the supplier and doesn't involve us. But because we were involved in the ordering of the materials to save time, now you got a triangle of people, you know.
No, I hear you. We had a GC, but we had to.
But
go a
seat,
different path.
I thought seat was sort of going to be GC the remainder
Seat
of
did
this.
not want to be declared a general contractor because of the legal implications that comes with. They were more than happy to act as more or less construction project manager, you know, instead.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody, I have to go.
Thank you.
All
Hey,
right.
Albert.
All right.
Bye, Albert. Thank
Okay.
you.
Hey, Albert.
See you.
Thank you.
So if you need to be the bad guy, is that?
Be the
where
bad
we're
guy.
at?
Well, there's also what Brian mentioned as an alternative to look at. I mean, I suppose I can get together with Beth to see if that's how
Yeah,
that can
I'm
happen.
just for, if it looks good and it really works, I'm just for expediting it. This is just a nightmare that should be over.
No, it should have been over a long time ago, but
Right.
Brian's suggestion, I think, is a really good one because it will expedite it. Because even if, no matter who's at fault, if we're gonna go forward as the plan is now, that supplier is gonna have to, you know, go polish a bunch of more blocks, and that's gonna take time, and it's gonna cost money. So, I think,
Well, here's the thing, you know, we have a lien on there that we probably won't get off anytime soon, so, you know, I don't know that we're in a major hurry, but, you know, I think there's time to do what you want to do to try to recoup some of that, I guess is all I'm saying.
To recoup some of what?
Well, do what you're gonna do. If they installed the wrong product or, you know, whatever the remedy is gonna be for what we need to do. Or who ordered it, Tony? I mean, we gotta order did we order the wrong product? I mean,
no,
I don't know.
no,
Okay,
we went over that order so many times that, because I wanted to be damn sure that we had more than enough materials. So, I actually, I had you know, an overage on there intentionally. And the supplier came back and said, that's far higher than you're going to need in this situation. So, we carved that back, and we literally counted every single block that was needed to go on the building, and we counted it. I know I counted it 3 times. George Brower counted it at least twice. The supplier counted it, so it got a very direct look. So I don't think what we ordered was wrong, especially given how many units are not there. Or
so they just
Yeah.
didn't supply them.
no,
Oh.
they have a shipping order that shows they supplied what we ordered.
The mason used them in the field of the wall instead of on
Yeah,
the edge
they-
conditions.
Oh, it's an installation issue.
Yeah,
Possibly,
exactly, possibly.
Possibly.
because there's no way to verify that we actually got what we ordered. No one was there to physically check it in, so to speak.
No, the
Is the
delivery,
mason disputing that that those materials weren't there? Is that the deal?
in a way he is. Basically what he's saying is bottom line, with the masonry that's left, there are not the type of units he needs to finish the job. And, I mean, originally, it seemed like the supplier was in the wrong because there are a lot of units left over. They're only polished on one side. And the quantity is almost exactly the number you would need to finish the job, but they need to be polished on more than one side. So to me, in the beginning, it was really looking like the supplier must have shipped the wrong stuff. And once the supplier said, you know, somebody took a block that's polished on more than one side and put it in a location where only one side needed to be polished, then that block went in the wrong place and it can't go where it should go. So that's why I get back to, those are the facts on the ground from what I'm looking at.
Yeah, I don't think it's of any consequence, to tell you the truth. You're talking about a 3.5 inch return. You'll never know. I mean, it's ground face on the face. You know, it's regular block on the sides. It's not. In the end, I don't think there's much consequence there. I think they should just finish the job. If you want to send the drawings to me, Tony, I can take a look at that elevation issue to eliminate the mason.
Thank you.
Eliminate the masonry head and the header. See if it
That's
looks
appreciated.
good. If it looks good, I think that's probably the way out of it without having to reset everything.
Great.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Thank you, Brian.
Yay. Thank you, Brian.
Yes.
And since you're already doing a similar thing around the entrance because you don't have corner block, then you have some precedent on the building for doing that. So it might look okay.
Okay.
It might not.
Well, I like your idea of, filling it around the windows. So, all right, I'll get you the sketches.
Now, Tony.
It's already been sent, even though I don't have Outlook.
Oh, it's been such a day.
But these are the contract documents he's working off of, right? That's not just this. When you say sketches.
Yeah, the sketches are only sketches. They just show, they're sketches of what units need to go where.
Yeah, no, I want to see I want to see the building elevations as well.
Okay,
Because
well, that would be the original elevation drawings.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll have to Dropbox them to you, obviously, but I can get them to you, sure.
okay, that'd be great.
Thanks for looking at it.
Okay. I have a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
I'll second, but Heather.
Yeah.
After we adjourn, can you hang on for one quick
Yeah,
question?
yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay, all in favor?
Hi.
Hi.
Okay,
Have a
Thanks,
great day,
everybody.
everybody.
bye-bye.
Adjourn at
It's just,
4:14.
Heather,
me,
you said that you'd be able to find out about the